Hi, my name is Songe LaRon. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Squire, and Squire is an operating system for barbershops. We make point-of-sale software, business management, and pretty much everything that these small business owners need to run their business. We have about 200 employees. We're operational in the US, UK, and Canada, and we've raised up to Series D about $160 million in total. So we segment our customers into three categories. SMB, which is owner-occupied and from 1 to 3 locations, mid-market, which is from 4 to 20 locations, and enterprise, which is 20 or more locations. When we first started Squire, we focused exclusively on SMBs. Our first sales team was just my co-founder and I, and we would literally walk into barbershops and just talk to the owner. Sometimes we would have to actually sit in the chair and get a haircut in order just to get his attention. But as we started growing, obviously that wasn't scalable, and we had to develop processes that would allow us to sell to and close shops at scale remotely. And as we started looking at bigger customers that were higher revenue producing, we realized that multi-location shops were just in many ways different from the smaller customers. They had different needs, and specifically they would often have different product requests that we had to learn how to fill in order to sell those customers. So when we brought on our VP of sales, he knew that it was part of our strategy to go after mid-market enterprise as well. And we actually stood up teams specifically to sell to those segments. And one thing that we learned was that the sales cycle and the process was different for SMBs. SMBs are more transactional, tend to be faster closes. They have less specific product requests, but they are also lower revenue. Mid-market, and particularly enterprise, are much longer sales processes, and the type of account executive who sells to them tends to be much more relationship driven, and also they need to have expertise in the product and be able to speak much more in detail about specific product requests and things that these mid-market enterprise customers often ask for. Because the sales cycle varies across the different segments of customers, the expectations on the account executives who are selling to those customers are naturally different. So the SMB account executives are expected to bring in more closes and more shops per month, just because it's a faster sales cycle. Whereas on the enterprise side, 1 or 2 accounts a year is still very successful. So depending on the type of customer that's being sold to, you're going to want to alter your sales compensation and expectations appropriately. If you're scaling your sales org and you're starting to go upstream after bigger accounts, such as the way we went from SMBs to mid-market enterprise, then one of the things that you're really going to want to do is understand the pain points and the value proposition for the customers upstream as well. And understand that they're often going to have specific product features and requests that you may not have encountered before on the other type of customers that you are selling to. And also know that the sales cycle will often be much longer because of these requests, but the payoff is usually higher because they tend to be higher revenue and multi-locations. So it's often worth it to make the investment in order to sell to those customers. When you start selling to bigger organizations, oftentimes what you'll find is that they tend to be more sophisticated when it comes to technology, and more often than not, they'll be coming from another software system, probably one of your competitors. And to get a company to switch from one system to another is very, very painful. So you have to prove to them why your software is better, and specifically what are the differentiators that make it a 10x experience that's worth that pain. So one thing you're going to really need to know is what was it they liked and didn't like about the competition, and then what are those delights and what are the problems that your software does just much better, and really hone in on those differentiators, because the more sophisticated enterprise or mid-market customer is going to be appreciative of that. So in order to scale your sales team successfully, you really have to focus on your sales talent. And one of the things that we found that has worked is recruiting from within the company as we promote salespeople to higher levels. So a lot of our account executives were SDRs previously. And we found that those account executives tend to perform well because they know the product already, they know the culture of the company, and they understand the industry. And as you think about how to build out a team that can go after your bigger, more sophisticated customers, really consider promoting from within, promoting your account executives who are higher performers at the SMB level and promoting them up to the mid-market or enterprise level, because those high performers probably are going to do well in that area as well. And one thing to keep in mind is that you want to get the right people in those positions because they're going to be building long-term relationships. And it may take longer for them to show success. So you want to be able to give them the bandwidth to prove themselves versus for account executives at the SMB level, it's very transactional and high velocity. So you're going to know really quickly if they're performing well or not. But at the higher level, you're going to have to give them more time. So for that reason, recruiting from within is a good thing because you already know that those candidates or those employees are good employees. In summary, 3 things to focus on are: 1, know your customer really well. Try to know them better than they know themselves. 2 is to really focus on having the best product possible that differentiates from your competitors. And 3, remember that finding the right people and the right account executives is super important because they're the ones that are going to make your sales org successful ultimately.